everyone, and welcome back to my true crime channel. I hope you're all well and having a great day. Today I want to talk about last night's instalment from Chris from the interview room, give you my thoughts and views on what was discussed, and talk about the thing I found most shocking out of his entire video, the fact that apparently Summer Wells's parents weren't doing an awful lot when the police and the other authorities arrived at the family home on the day their daughter was reported missing. Apparently they were just hanging out. So I really enjoyed Chris's latest video. It was nice to see that his wife was there. It was a very informative video, and as I enjoy analysing statements as a statement analyst, I really enjoyed seeing Chris go back through the previous interviews with the parents, a lot of things that I've spotted a couple of months ago when I first heard that initial first interview with Candus and Don, Summer Wells's parents. A lot of the things that I thought were red flags, Chris also does. It's really nice to know I'm not going mad, and the things that I spotted that I thought were really weird. He's never said whether he really thinks the parents are involved. It would be really interesting to know his views on the parents. I'm sure he has a lot of other information on the case he can't possibly tell us, but I'm really glad that he's part of this case. I hope he can help solve it, and I'm really sure that he will. So just going back to the parents not looking for their daughter, you'd think if you had a 5-year-old missing child disappeared, you'd be frantic. When the police arrived, you'd be running around, you'd be sweating, you'd be going out of your mind. You know, you may even be ringing all your friends and family saying, come and help search for Summer. Summer's gone missing. You know, you'd be running around them woods. Now, I know there's a lot of acres and a big expanse of land on the house where they live, but you would have thought there'd be more urgency to find their daughter. The fact they were apparently, and I know it's only apparently because I wasn't there, it's just according to Chris from the interview room, hanging out, not doing an awful lot, not searching for their daughter. They've only reported her missing around, 40 minutes or an hour before this point in time. You'd still be looking for her, wouldn't you? If you thought she was genuinely missing, if you genuinely thought or believed she'd been abducted, surely you'd be frantically searching. And if they weren't, that is a huge red flag. So going back to the shocker about Summer Wells's parents not doing an awful lot to look for their daughter. Now, I found that shocking, but the more I sat and thought about it, the more I thought, why am I shocked? They constantly referred to their daughter in the past tense in that very first media interview. They've done it other times. They corrected themselves when realising they'd done it, especially Don. I mean, he spoke about Summer in the past tense so many times I lost count. So they'd already processed their daughter's death, in my opinion. And as always, guys, I always caveat in my videos, it's just my opinion, but I do feel they'd already processed their daughter's death. There possibly was a tragic accident. Obviously it could have been something else, we don't know, but whatever, I feel they'd processed what had happened to Summer by the time they gave that interview, which is most likely why, when the authorities turn up, and obviously again this is just speculation and I have no proof, but I think the reason they weren't searching for Summer is because they knew that she wasn't going to be found. Now, going back to what I was just saying, that could be a number of things. The parents could have had something to do with it. We don't know. They could have moved Summer's body if she had come to harm. Again, this is all speculation because we don't know. They could have given her to someone. She could be hidden somewhere. You know, she could have come to harm in by someone else, and they're aware of it. But what I don't believe, and I've always wanted to believe, is that Summer is somewhere safe, maybe with a grandma, maybe with a family friend, another, family member. I'm starting to think that's less and less likely. If she had been given to a family member, it's unlikely the parents would have spoken about her in the past tense as much. So I think the chances of her being hidden away, to stop her being taken away by the Child Protection Services or potentially to make money out of a missing fund, aka Shannon Matthews, a similar case to that happened here in the UK. I've mentioned it in my other videos. I don't think that's true, because if she was stashed somewhere safely with someone, whether to make money or hide her from the authorities to stop her being taken into care, I don't think they would have been talking about her constantly in the past tense. So I do feel even more strongly now that they know what happened to Summer. As I've always said in my other videos, guys, that doesn't mean that they're involved or that they caused an accident or even, something on purpose. But whatever happened to Summer, whether it was in one of those parents' care, they know where she is. They know what happened. Obviously, I don't know what happened, but they most certainly, in my opinion, do. So there were so many past tense references, like I said, guys. So many weird things that Don said, always talking about Summer as if she was already dead, saying he imagines her in a dungeon. That's a bit of a weird one. Lots of things he's said have raised red flags. Some of the religious, sort of terms he's used have been a bit, in my opinion, over the top. I'm not having a go at him using religious terms, but often he's used them, in my opinion, to emphasise something that he's saying, to make him look like a good person because he's religious. It's never sat well with me, all the religious terms. And again, I'm not judging him for having a religion or a belief. I think that's a great thing, but the amount of times he used religious references always was a red flag to me. He's often spoke about Summer being dead a lot more than Candus. It's almost as if he let slip what's really happened in a certain way of using words. I feel Don has always slipped up. I feel Don has always let more slip than Candus. Obviously, he's given a lot more interviews, so that's bound to happen. But I felt in that very initial interview, like Chris does from the interview room, that the parents weren't on each other's side. They weren't combined in their story. Some things Don said and something Candus said just didn't sit well. They didn't seem aligned when they talk about Summer's hair. I've mentioned that before. They don't seem to agree on why or why not it was shaved. One of the things Candus said in that first interview is that she just wants to find her daughter, but there was no emphasis on I just want to find my daughter. There was no urgency to find her daughter. There never has been, in my opinion. The amount that he says how much he loved his daughter and how much she loved him and how he'd never had anyone love him as much as Summer. He has certainly mentioned his love for his daughter more than Candus. That doesn't mean he loved her more than Candus, but it could lead you to believe that perhaps he did love Summer more than Candus. The fact also, there's so many red flags with the parents that he often has said in more than one interview that Candus and Summer didn't bond. Summer didn't bond with their mother when she was born, which is quite unusual. It does happen. But could it be that Candus prefers boys? I know some women do prefer to have sons and daughters. It's not the first time I've heard of that happening, but it was almost as if he was quite proud that Summer had loved him more than her mother, which, if it is true, must have been quite hurtful for Candus for him to say that. So I don't feel they're on the same page. I don't feel they have been from the start. I've often wondered, and I still wonder, if Summer had an accident in her mother's care and Don knows about it and blames Candus for the potential demise of their daughter. I'm sorry to be so blunt, guys. I know that's not a nice thing to say, but I have always suspected an accident. I don't know if it happened at that swimming hole or watering hole. I know it's called more than one thing. Perhaps Summer did have an accident that she potentially passed away from after they'd left there with Hunter. I can't be certain on that, but I do suspect an accident could have potentially happened at the house. Potentially Summer could have passed away maybe, but not by long, when she was removed from the property in whatever way. And could that be why the dogs have never smelt the scent of death? The many Cavalier dogs that they've had out, the sniffer dogs, why have they never smelt the scent of death? The smell of death, the smell that they smell wouldn't have been there that quickly if Summer could have been moved very fast. So there is that to think about. But whether or not she died on the property, obviously we don't even know she's dead. This is just speculating if she is. Whether she died on the property or whether there was a tragic accident at the watering hole that was then covered up and she passes away in the car on the way home. Obviously, again, I'm just speculating, guys, but I think they would have had to have removed her from the home pretty swiftly. But because we know there's a period between about 3 in the afternoon when they get home and approximately 6 that they're allegedly supposed to have rung the police. So there's a good few hour period where there's potential for something sinister like a body to be moved. It's just whether if it was done in a car, how come there's been no trace of it? I don't know. I just hope that the police are still looking into this couple, still looking into this little girl Summer's disappearance. I'm sure that they are. I'm sure they're keeping very quiet and keeping it under their hat because they know it's an active investigation and they don't want to compromise whatever evidence they may already have. So it is really interesting to go back through the parents' initial statements that they gave to media. The first one was a real eye-opener because Candus didn't seem quite all there, and I don't mean that in a bad way. She may have been on medication, she may have been on hard drugs, I don't know. But she wasn't all there. Don seemed a lot more on the ball in that interview. I never believed a lot that they said during the interview. Like I've said, and I hate to keep on saying it, but those past tense references always gave me the chills, always made me think from the first time I ever laid eyes on these two people and heard of this case, wow, you know what happened to your daughter. I feel you have guilty knowledge of what happened to your daughter. I hope that your daughter hasn't come to harm, But the more this case goes on, the more we hear about Don's past and about a lot of things that have gone on within that family on both sides, the more I worry for Summer's safety. So there was a lot of talk last night on Chris's channel, on the Interview Room's channel, about the timeline, whether or not Hunter rung Candus. That'll be interesting. The police must be able to look at the phone records to see who called who, so they must know that. I'd love to know who rung who and whether Candus is lying. I've always felt Hunter was being truthful, so that's going to be interesting. If we ever get to know what the phone records were, the case could hopefully be closed, hopefully with a good outcome. But, how long was the grandma at the hospital? Why did Candus even see Hunter that day? I've wondered that a lot, especially as Hunter said the families had had a falling out. He hadn't really been in contact with Candus much. Was he used as some sort of alibi? Again, guys, it's just speculation on my part, but I've always felt Hunter's involvement in that day was something more sinister on Candus's part, and I don't mean that in a weird way, in a relationship way. I mean that she made him, part of the story of the day to make Summer's disappearance seem more plausible. Maybe they thought the blame would be put at Hunter's door, I don't know, but it's never sat well with me that they hadn't been in contact for quite a long time, and suddenly, out of the blue, Candus wants to meet up with him, although she claims he rung her, he claims she rung him. Personally, I think she rung him, and that Hunter's telling the truth on that one. Obviously, guys, it's hard to know who's telling the truth in this case. Is Hunter telling the truth? Is Candus telling the truth? Is Don telling the truth? Are any of them telling the truth? I don't think Hunter's involved. I never have. I don't know who did what here. I can only speculate like the rest of you can. But I do feel the parents know what happened to Summer. Just hope and I pray that it wasn't something sinister. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this case develops over the next few weeks, because soon enough, Summer Wells, the little 5-year-old girl from Tennessee that we've all took into our hearts, is going to have been missing for 3 long months. It's really sad to think that the more this time moves on, the more we head towards the 3-month mark of Summer being missing, the more unlikely it is, in my opinion, that they're going to find her alive. I'll be honest with you guys. I hope if she has passed away that they can find her, give her the funeral that she so deserves, give her the respect that she deserves as a human being, which sadly it doesn't seem that she got in her life. I've said in a couple of other videos recently, I am going to be doing, but it might take me about a week to get it out, guys, looking back into all the initial interviews with the parents, looking back through their statements, analysing it again, seeing if there's anything I've missed. Not just that, Don constantly talking about Summer, not just in a past tense way, but also saying that he thinks she is dead. The chances are, the statistics say she's going to be dead, thinking she's in a dungeon, immediately thinking she was abducted. All the worst case scenarios, the fact that both the parents have always thought of the worst case scenario of the abduction, not holding on to hope in their heart something, bad hasn't happened. I know initially you might think that, and soon enough you're going to think the worst, but surely most people would try not to think the worst, and it's been a major red flag to me that both of the parents have always thought that from the very beginning. Well, I've been looking into cases of missing people for a very long time now, such a number of years that I probably would not like to admit to you just how long, but a long time. They're the one true crime thing that has fascinated me more than anything else, even above unsolved and solved murders, and I'm extremely fascinated by missing people, why people choose to disappear, why people disappear for sinister reasons. I'm always interested, especially in cold cases of missing people. I know that Summer's case isn't a cold case, and I hope and I pray it doesn't become one, and that this case is solved soon. But often in cases of missing children, when the parents constantly refer to the child in the past tense, seem to have already accepted that they're dead, so soon after they go missing, 1 week after they go missing, in the case of Summer's parents, Don and Candus, it's not normal. It's a huge red flag. It doesn't necessarily mean the little girl has passed away, but the likelihood is that she has. Their statements have never made sense. The words that they both choose to use give away a lot of their guilty knowledge, in my opinion. If you listen back, like I said, to all the interviews that they've done, especially Don, I think, I'm not trying to make your mind up for you, but most people would come to the conclusion that they know what happened to Summer. That doesn't mean Don did it or Candus did it or anyone did anything sinister. It could have been an accident. As always, guys, I could be wrong. You know, perhaps Summer was abducted and I'm wrong about the abduction theory. There is a very small possibility that it happened, but abductions, especially by strangers, are so rare, and that 2 to 3 minute time frame that Summer was apparently abducted in, no one hearing or seeing anything when quite a few people were home at the house, Grandma, Candus, the three brothers, doesn't add up to me. It's never added up to me. Obviously, it could have happened, but I think if this case is ever solved, the likelihood is that Summer isn't with us anymore, and I'm really sorry to say that. I hope I'm wrong, I really do, but I think she probably has passed away, and the most likely scenario is an accident. Obviously, it could have been something more sinister, but if she has, I just hope it was an accident and not something more sinister. Well, anyway, guys, sorry to go through so many horrible theories surrounding Summer's disappearance, but they rattle around in my brain every day, and I do like being honest and upfront with you, as you have all been with me. I'd like to say a big thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate all the comments that you pop below for me. Please continue popping your comments below. Please continue talking amongst this case, in amongst the comments with each other. I love seeing when you're having conversations with each other. It's really great to see you all interacting. I love you interacting with me. As always, I will get back to you as soon as I can. I do try to get back to as many people as I can. I do read every one of your comments, so I'm always fascinated to know your thoughts on this case. I know that not all of us agree. Some of us don't think the parents are involved, and that's fine. I love knowing your thoughts, whether you agree with me or not. A lot of you have come up with suggestions as to what could have happened to Summer. Some of you have thought of things I've never thought of before. So the fact that we all discuss this case on a regular basis can only be a good thing. So please continue to do so. And as always, please keep Summer Wells in your heart. I hope you're all well wherever you are in this big wide world of ours. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I hope all your family and friends are well. And I hope you have a great week. And as always, I'll be back with you very soon with another true crime video. Bye for now.